Hello, my name is Ann, and today let's talk about something a little bit different than what I usually do. So, some of you watching this video must have owned an Android device as a main device or a spare one. And if you happen to own a cheap Android device, I'm talking about cheap Android device like $100 or cheaper, you would probably be familiar with a lot of issues with cheap devices like laggy performance, storage struggle, or fast battery drain. So this video will help you cope with these annoyances and eventually make your Android experience more enjoyable. So I'll be using the ASUS ThinkPad 7 in this video. You probably must have be familiar with this piece of devices. I used this thing for a few years before switching to the iPad mini 2. And so I bring this out and I noticed that this thing is very slow compared to this today's standard. So I thought I would make this video to just give you an idea of how you can make your Android handset much less laggy than before. So let's get started. Let's start this video with performance. Performance is something people highly prioritize a lot when it comes to a budget Android device or any Android device or even any phone in general. Because no matter how good a phone is, in terms of camera specs, display design, but it has poor performance, it is completely out of the water. It is completely trash, and you will absolutely feel fed up with it. Um, Regardless of how good it is on the other side. In terms of Android these days, usable devices must have at least 2 gigabytes of RAM. 2 gigabytes of RAM means that your phone will work much faster, much more reliable. Uh, Unfortunately, this one only has 1 gig of RAM, and so this suffers from a lot of performance issues. And so, if your device is less than 2 gigs of RAM, which you can find out by going to GSM Arena, you need to get rid of anything that can radically affect the overall speed of your Android device, such as apps, background processes, or clunky animations. Let's start with apps. With apps, you need to. The first is that if you're using Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, it is highly necessary that you install the light version of these apps. For example, on my Android device, I have Facebook Lite, and you can see on the camera here. But these are the Lite app that I have. We've got Facebook Lite, Instagram Lite, Twitter Lite, and YouTube Go. These apps are the light version of the regular Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube that you've been using. But it takes a lot less RAM, uh, and moreover, it helps uh, better performance on these apps. You know, the regular version, the regular Facebook app, the regular YouTube app, they they are a memory hog. Okay, a memory hog, meaning that it can slow down your Android device as soon as you open it. So yeah, so that's apps you can install some on the Play Store. If you happen to go to the Play Store and you search for, let's say, Facebook, there is a little similar app suggestions that if you happen to have a low-end Android device, you should get out Facebook Lite, just like that. It is highly recommended for devices with 1 gig of RAM. The next this tip is to limit your background process. These process can take up a lion's share of your RAM. So you do this. To do this, go to About section of your settings. You need to find the build number of your Android in that About section, and tap 7 times on that build number. You will prompt it to be a developer, and you can exit, and you will see a developer option right there. You'll go to the developer options, and you need to go process stats. These this statistics here includes all of the apps that have been running in the background and taking storage. Uh, but keep in mind that most of these apps are essential, right? For example, these air status, these SMS push, these are very important, right? Uh, Stuff like Google Play services is a must because it requires it is a uh, requirement for your Android apps to work, most Android apps to work. Other than that, or any other applications that you feel is not important, get rid by tapping on the force stop here. Right, it will clear that from the storage from the RAM. And finally, you need to turn off any unnecessary transition animations that not only look slow but feel slow. Again, go to developer options and scroll down until you see three sections: window animation scale, transition animation scale, and animator duration scale. If you don't want animation at all, tap on the off option, right? Like off here, and your animation will completely disappear, making the experience way faster and less laggy, as you can see, right? It feels really smooth with really fast with the animation off. And one disclaimer I want to make here is that you should not, uh, like for passion, install any apps that is supposed to boost your RAM or improve performance, like Clean Master. These are the apps that is also memory hog and can also take up a lot of RAM. So that's something to keep in mind. Alright, let's move on to the second factor, storage. So most budget Android devices usually come with 16 gigs of storage. And well, that's nothing to complain about. With time, the cache and the photos you take will take up more storage. And since microSD support is pretty kind of dependent on each device, taking precaution step is still essential. One of the steps to do it is actually the aforementioned one, installing light apps instead of regular ones. You know that the Facebook Lite, Instagram Lite, they also help reduce storage. Apart from just saving up RAM, they also save some storage as well. A regular Facebook, Instagram app take up like 100, 200 megabytes, right? It's very large. But with a Lite app, you're only getting 10, 20 megabytes at most, which is a really good point. Another method you can do is to use cloud storage to store photos, your documents, or your videos. There are many ways, right? And there are many advantages to using a cloud storage. For one, you can back up all your photos, videos to the cloud and deleting them in the current without having to lose them. And of course, you can sync across devices, but that's not what we want to say here. We're going to talk about here. In terms of photos, you can use Google Photos to back up all of your photos and videos. With cloud storage, you can use either Google Drive or Dropbox. You know, depends on how you choose it. Um, the last thing to consider is cache. Cache are like almost on every single Android device. Cache means junk files, and they as you use your apps, your Instagram, your camera, more cache will be generated, and they will take up more storage that you can imagine. Let's say I go to storage, and if you look at the cache data, which is still being calculated here, it can take up to like hundreds, 134 megabytes in terms of cache data, and these data are useless. Okay, so just clear them out like completely. Just don't hesitate and clear those cache data right away because they are junks. They have absolutely no use at all. And finally, get rid of any bloatware. All right. In terms of bloatware, it kind of depends. If you are a person who doesn't like rooting your Android device, you can just disable them or clear the data. But with people who likes to root, you can actually completely uninstall all the bloatwares. As you can see, my PhonePad 7, when I flash the ROM, there are a bunch of bloatwares, right? And I actually use program apps like Link to SD or Titanium Backup to get rid of these apps once and for all. You know, I mean, they take up a lot of storage, okay? But keep in mind, just consider which app to get rid of, right? Don't get rid of the phone app. Don't get rid of the camera app because the replacement may not be good after all, you know. So just take that with a grain of salt. Okay, last but not least, let's talk about battery optimization. Again, some of the steps that to optimize the battery life is pretty much the same as that of to improve performance or um, improve on storage. So let's recap. The first step to optimize the battery is to limit the background process, as I mentioned before, and turn off the animation. Yes, they do consume a bit of batteries, uh, only a bit, but you know, the, the better. Um, there's actually one app that I recommend you to use to help improve battery life, especially in idle, is Greenify. Greenify is a wonderful app. It helps hibernate all the apps that you choose while your device is at sleep, so that the battery idle drain will be reduced. So it is a really good app. You know, it start with Android Marshmallow. It's a little bit surplus to requirements now, but it's still wonderful in a lot of ways. You know, you can, let's say if you're in Facebook Lite and you want it to completely hibernate it when you go to sleep, you can go ahead and you know, add it to the hibernation list so that it just when you turn off your device, you put it asleep, put your device asleep, it will put that app completely to hibernation, right? So no notifications, no nothing. Of course, it does come with a cost, but it is to it is really a helpful way to improve battery life, especially with the standby time. Also, don't forget to utilize some of the battery saving features. For example, if your device hits below 15%, you can use the power saver to get more of your battery if you are desperate to need some more juice. So that's a really good point. So that's what I have to say about the battery optimization. So that's basically what I have to say here in this video. I hope this guide will help you make your budget Android device feel much faster and more enjoyable use. So if you find this video useful, please don't forget to click the like button down below. Also subscribe to this channel and click on that bell button so that you can receive notification for every video that I uploaded on this channel. And don't forget to comment and share this video to social medias, to friends, to family, to let them know about how to make your life better. Anyways, thank you and goodbye.